Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Today, I'm going to be going over with you guys some modern fragrances that have throwback sensibilities or style to them, because I'm a big sucker for old school men's fragrances. Maybe I don't talk about them as much as I should, but I really like them. So if you've got a hankering for a fragrance that has a throwback masculine style to it, but at the same time is done with modern sensibilities, then these would work for you. So let's jump into it. Let's check these out. We're gonna kick things off with a fragrance from Maison Crivelli. It's the only fragrance I have from the house, and it'll make sense why in a second. It's Santal Volcanique. Presentation on these bottles, pretty simple. They keep it to just a little sticker and a stainless steel looking cap, and that's it. Not too much flash here. So why this one? Why is this the only one that I have from the house? Well, because it smells a little bit similar, same style to these. Dolce & Gabbana's By Man and Gucci Envy. This one right here, this is crazy expensive nowadays. And there's all kinds of fakes of this fragrance as well. So it's doubly annoying that it costs a ton of money. And if you want a real one, you have to make super ultra duper sure that it's not a fake, because otherwise you're gonna pay $300 for something that smells like dog water. And then of course, Gucci Envy, one of my favorites of all time. Why did Gucci do that to you? Why? What were they thinking? Oh, I know what they were thinking. Cash a huge effing check with all this Gucci guilty money. That's what they were thinking. Obviously, both of those long gone, long discontinued, and really expensive on secondary markets nowadays. And this one can kind of scratch that itch. And this one is at Twisted Lily. If you shop there, use code GENTS10, save yourself 10% off the whole website. Just throwing that out there, because I don't think that this one has really popped up at discounters yet. So a 10% discount is better than a 0% discount. So this one has sandalwood. It's got spices like ginger and cardamom. It actually has coffee as a note in here as well, although that's not really pronounced. Then you've got cedar, so a little additional woodiness to go along with that sandalwood. Performance on this quite good as well. Lasts a long time. Projection is a little bit above average. Great scent, especially if you're a fan of the two fragrances I mentioned. Now we go to a fragrance that has original 1949 in its name, so you know it's old school, at least to an extent. It's Moustache. This is the Eau de Toilette. This one has a bit of a similarity to fragrances like Dior Eau Sauvage, also the Eau de Toilette, only here the lemon and the bergamot in the opening is a bit creamier, a little bit sweeter, instead of being bright like it is in Eau Sauvage. And I think that's one of the biggest differences that does make this smell more modern than Eau Sauvage. And there's nothing wrong with Eau Sauvage. Fantastic scent. But the way the citrus is used there, like I said, very bright, but at the same time, really sharp. Some people would say maybe a little astringent. That can turn people off, and it kind of dates the fragrance for a lot of people. Here though, with that creaminess and that smoothness and that sweetness, the way that the citrus is presented in Moustache makes it an easier wear nowadays. As it dries down, you get lavender, you get violet, you get oak moss, you get neroli. It's a really pleasant, easy to wear scent. Great for an office, more formal situations, but also great casually as well. Lots of versatility. And one of the best parts about this fragrance is, at least when it's in stock at discounters, doesn't cost all that much. And just to be completely clear, yes, this is Moustache Eau de Toilette, and Moustache Eau de Parfum is the one that got heavily hyped for smelling similar to Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. And no, Moustache Eau de Toilette does not smell like Moustache Eau de Parfum. It doesn't smell like a lighter version of that scent. They are completely different. Now we're gonna hop over to Brioni Eau de Parfum. There's a new version of this, or a new flanker, called Eau de Parfum Intense. Haven't tried that one yet though. Again, presentation here fairly simple. You just have a little fabric tag on the front there with the name of the house, Brioni. You have a nice little magnetic cap, and then the bottle feels good in the hand too. Simple, but classy. With this one, you're gonna get a really prominent violet note. You've also got kind of an ozonic feeling in the opening, very fresh in the open, bit of apple, add some sweetness there when you first spray this on as well. And then once it dries down, you get cedar, tonka, a little bit of musk. It's been compared to Dior Fahrenheit a little bit. For me though, it would be closer to the discontinued Aqua Fahrenheit, and that's because of the opening here being fresher. It's not really as gasoline-y or leathery as Fahrenheit. So to me, like I said, a little closer to Aqua Fahrenheit if I was going to make a comparison. Definitely overlooked. Makes sense because Brioni's not really a house where people are looking out for their fragrances or anything like that, but it's a great effort, a great scent. And if you can pick it up for a nice price, all the better. Then we've got a YouTuber fragrance. Oh boy. This one is Gravitas pour Homme from Naughton and Wilson. As of right now, Naughton and Wilson has 2 fragrances. They have this one and then Bon Vivre. Between the two, I think this is the one to get. It's got vanilla, cardamom, lavender, citrus, oak moss. It smells friggin' great. It's a really nice aromatic fougere, modernized, and that vanilla added in adds this softness and this sweetness that kind of just envelops everything else. And for me, that vanilla is really what elevates the entire composition. The citrus mixing with the lavender when you first spray it on doesn't have that harshness that you might expect from an older aromatic fougere. Here again, everything kind of smoothed out, no rough edges. Nearly in any season fragrance, really, daytime or nighttime. I'd say if I really had to nail it down, maybe spring and fall kind of neutral weather, but in summer you would just not spray as much, and in winter maybe spray a little bit more. As far as modern high quality aromatic fougères go, this one is one of the best, hands down. We're gonna follow up Gravitas with a fragrance that I really like. I try to mention every so often, and it is Bottega Veneta pour Homme. Unfortunately, these Bottega Veneta fragrances getting harder to find, especially in the US. The flankers, which actually were very good that came out after this one, even harder to find than the original. This one has leather, fir, pine, juniper, patchouli, bit of labdanum in here as well. It's going to appeal more to guys that like those older style, those old school masculine scents that did have prominent woodsy notes like pine right at the top there, right as soon as you sprayed it on. Probably the most popular, most famous of fragrances that had that style of scent probably is Polo Green, at least to me. This one isn't close enough to Polo Green that I would say that they're, a 1-to-1 or anything like that, or it's redundant to own one and the other. But I think it's safe enough to say if you like Polo Green or fragrances of that ilk, you should like this too. Now, this is one I love. Maybe slightly divisive. Some people are never going to like this line no matter what they come out with, but I think it's fantastic. It is Dior Sauvage Elixir. Lavender, licorice, cinnamon, nutmeg, sandalwood, amber, some of the notes in the scent here. First time I smelled this, it just shocked me. Not at all what I was expecting, because Dior Sauvage, the Eau de Toilette, the Eau de Parfum, those fragrances, whether you like it or not, really set in motion this new breed of fragrance, like unleashed it. It had been brewing before, obviously, with fragrances like Bleu de Chanel, and actually fragrances that came out years before Bleu de Chanel that set everything in motion for the blue fragrance tidal wave. But when Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette came out and just crushed it and sold insane numbers of bottles, it opened the floodgates, or opened them the rest of the way. They were already opening. So when this came out and had almost an 80s inspired feel to it, at least that's how I picked it up when I smelled it, and I was like, dang, that reminds me of all these scents from the 80s that I have that I love, that I just kind of hang out back here in my collection that I don't talk about too much. It reminded me of those, and I loved it. I was here for it, still am. The power here is insane. It lasts forever. It projects like crazy. It is costly, and you only get this little 60 ml size bottle, but it'll last you forever. And I think the funny thing about this, and if this is you, I'm not taking shots, I just think it's funny, but you'll sometimes see guys go like, oh, I sprayed on Dior Sauvage Elixir 10 times, I can't smell anything. And I'm just like, that's because your brain shut down, man. You breathed in all those Sauvage Elixir aroma chemicals and your brain was like, powering down, can't smell anything. Last but not least, a vetiver scent. It is Homage to Hemingway from Masque, Milano. This one's got ginger and rhubarb in the opening, which I love. Rhubarb is a note that I wish I saw more often in fragrances. I think it's a little bit underutilized, and the ginger gives it this nice sparkle, this lift, this liveliness to it, this vitality when you spray it on. Then as it dries down, well, really in the opening you get it too, but as it dries down, the vetiver comes out and sings, and I'm a big fan of vetiver. You know this, I know this, we all know this. And this is one of those scents that just is absolutely lovely how it presents the vetiver. It's not just a flat vetiver, just, you know, dry or grassy or earthy or whatever, and it just kind of sits there and lays there like, eh. This vetiver is utilizing multiple facets, multiple types of vetiver. So you get like the whole spectrum, or at least a lot of the spectrum, because vetiver is one of those versatile notes that depending on which type of vetiver is used, it's going to come across a different way. So you can get some of that dryness, that grassiness, that earthiness, that freshness. You can get it all in this scent. Some people may have an issue with Masque Milano with the smaller bottle sizes, but it doesn't bother me too much. I think they look pretty cool, very unique. So Hemingway, gonna wrap this one up. All right, friends, there we go. 7 fragrances that I think are stunning, great scents that are modern, but with throwback style. As always, thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you for your support. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.